In this example, we're going to use the order of operations to add, subtract, multiply, and divide. So remember, for our order of operations, we'll do multiplication or division first from left to right. And after we've done any multiplication or division, then we'll do addition or subtraction from left to right. Okay, so remember, multiplication doesn't necessarily come before division. Okay, it only comes before division if it's to the left of division when we're looking at the problem from left to right. Okay, so here's a quick example. There we have division. These two numbers are multiplied, but we do the division first because it's on the left. So basically, you want to read these sort of like a sentence. You're going to work from left to right, and you're going to perform one operation at a time. So I went ahead and labeled these so you could see the labeling as we work the problems. So in A, we have 7 plus 6 times 8. And it's a good idea, until you get really used to this, to start by highlighting the operations. Then you know how many steps you have to perform. So I have addition and multiplication, so I have two things to do. So of those two things, I do multiplication first. So now I have 7 plus 48. Now I just have addition, and 7 plus 48 is 55. Let's look at the next one. Nine plus -4 times -9. So notice we have addition here, and right here, because the parentheses are written next to each other, remember these are signs of the number. This is -4 times -9. Since they're written next to each other, this is implied multiplication. So we'll do the multiplication first. Let's use a highlighter. So first we'll do that multiplication. We'll keep the 9, we'll keep the plus, and now -4 times -9, well, multiply their absolute values, and that's 36, and a negative times a negative is positive. Now we will do the addition. 9 plus 36 is 45. Let's look at the next one. -64 divided by 8 plus 3 times -2. So let's highlight our operations. So here we have division, here we have addition, and again here is that implied multiplication. It's not 3 minus 2, it's 3 times -2. So put a multiplication symbol there. So we have 1, 2, 3 operations to perform. So first we'll do any multiplication or division. There's a division and there's a multiplication, but the division is first from left to right. So first we'll do this division. -64 divided by 8, so I divide their absolute values. 64 divided by 8 is 8, and a negative divided by a positive is negative. Now copy down the rest of the problem. Every step, copy down the problem so you don't miss any pieces. And here is our multiplication, which comes next. So 3 times -2. We'll multiply their absolute values. 3 times 2 is 6. A positive times a negative is negative. So we have -8 plus -6. And notice I put the -6 in parentheses, and the reason I did this is because it's a negative number, and there's an addition symbol in front of it, so I don't want us to confuse those signs. So take a second to notice the difference between these. Here there's no operation going on in the parentheses or right outside it with multiplication. This is a number that's going to be added to -8. And let's do that last step. Well, -8 plus -6, I'll add their absolute values, which is 14, and they're both negative, so the answer is -14. Let's look at the next one. 9 minus 15 divided by negative 5 plus 5. Okay. Now this is one where I can see students jumping the gun. It's really tempting to just say that this is 0, okay? Because you see a negative 5 and a 5 and it makes part of the problem go away. But notice we cannot do that because we have subtraction, division, and addition. And the division has to come first. So we'll start by dividing 15 by negative 5. So 9 minus, and then 15 divided by negative 5. Well, 15 divided by 5 is 3. Since one of the signs is negative, my answer is negative, so it's negative 3. And again, typically when you have a negative result mid-computation, you want to put it in parentheses or else this might look a little bit confusing. Make sure you copy down the whole problem. So the part highlighted in green is all we've done so far, so I still have the 9, the minus, the plus, and the 5. Now we have subtraction and addition. We do those from left to right. And the subtraction comes first because it's further to the left. So we have 9 minus negative 3. Well, 9 minus 3, let's do this, minus negative 3. On the side, remember, this is the same as adding 9 plus. The opposite of negative 3 is positive 3. Okay, so this will be 12 plus 5. And our last step, 12 plus 5 is 17. Okay, so we have 2 more. Looking at problem E, 42 divided by 6 times negative 4 minus negative 3 times negative 5. Okay, so this one really has a lot going on. Here's division, there's implied multiplication, here's subtraction, and there's another implied multiplication. Okay, so really try to spot those first so you don't miss any steps. Okay, so we're going to do any multiplication or division first, and we're going to work from left to right. And I'm noticing right away we have 42 divided by 6 is first. Okay, so 42 divided by 6 is 7. Now I'm going to copy down the rest of the problem. Okay, and it's tempting to do other operations now. Okay, but try not to jump the gun. So here in this case, we could multiply these now and it wouldn't affect the problem. However, if we did this subtraction now, it would affect the problem. So while you're first learning and you have a lot of operations, before you try to bypass any of them, because there are exceptions to rules, but then you don't want to do a false exception. So just do these one step at a time. Next, we'll do 7 times negative 4. And a negative times a positive is negative. Negative 28 minus negative 3 times negative 5. Now we have subtraction and multiplication. So multiplication comes next. So we have negative 28 minus, well, a negative times a negative is positive, and 3 times 5 is 15. And finally, we'll do the subtraction. This is negative 28 minus 15. And I personally like to think of this as negative 28 plus negative 15. Okay, I think of combining these as negative amounts. So if we add 28 and 15, that's 43. And they're both negative, so it's negative 43. Last one, negative 3 times 16 divided by 8 minus negative 4 times 5 plus negative 2. Okay, so we have a lot of steps in this problem. Multiplication, division, subtraction, implied multiplication, addition. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 steps. So first, any multiplication or division. So left to right, there's multiplication right here. So negative 3 times 16. Well, the product of their absolute values, 3 times 16 is 48. It's a negative times a positive, so it's negative. So negative 48 divided by 8 minus, I'm just going to copy down the rest of the problem. Next, we have the division. So, divide their absolute values. 48 divided by 8 is 6. A negative divided by a positive is negative. So we have negative 6 minus negative 4 times 5 plus negative 2. Okay. Now, we still have multiplication left, so again, really focus on following this order of operations, or you might want to do that subtraction next. So here's our multiplication. So now we have negative 6 minus, well, 4 times 5 is 20, and one of them is negative, so it's negative 20, plus negative 2. Okay. Now we just have subtraction and addition left, so we'll do them left to right. The subtraction is first. And I'm just going to show this on the side again. So subtracting a negative is the same as adding its opposite, which is a positive. So this is equivalent to negative 6 plus 20, which is 14, plus negative 2. And 14 plus negative 2 is 12.